So many drummers are practicing paradiddles the wrong way and don't even know it. Sometimes we just rep them over and over and over again, and you might ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is it doing to make me better at drums? So today I'm going to show you some exercises you can use that will be the most effective way you can ever train paradiddles. And doing these things will completely change and transform the way you drum in all aspects, not just paradiddles. It will make you more technically proficient behind the instrument, and it will give you the ability to play with more musicality than before. So let's jump in with step one. This is a paradiddle. All right, we got this sticking pattern, diddle at the end, accent on the first note, and it alternates. So you do it with the right hand and with the left hand. That's the basics, okay? When you practice this, I want you to spend some time doing it incredibly slowly, okay? And you're going to start with the first hand up high with an exaggerated stick height. And when you drop this hand into the practice pad, you're going to let the weight of your arm fall into the pad naturally. I don't want you to use any extra muscle or force or velocity, just the dead weight of your arm falling into the pad, and then keep it down low like this. The next note is already low because it's not accented, it's soft. You're going to tap the pad and it comes directly back up high like this. And then we have two diddles left and they stay low and they diddle. Now this left hand is up to prep this accent. And then we alternate. Okay? So every second note of a paradiddle, this one here, it's always going up right away. It's going up. As soon as it hits the drum, it's going back up high because you don't need it again until you start the downbeat of the next one. Okay, so if I was going to do this continuously and smoothly, it would look like this. You're getting a very strong accent sound, and you're trying to keep all of the other notes that follow nice and low and soft and even and smooth. Okay? That's the basic goal. Now, that's a pretty medium tempo for what we're doing. We can actually slow this down even more, and it's important to try it. So you're actually going to give yourself a little count as you bring your right hand down. And it won't actually be accented because we're so slow, but we're going to go 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, hit. And you should practice that stroke alone, just like that once in a while. All right? And what you're trying to do is you're keeping that tip up and then dropping it. So you're letting the weight of the arm create energy and then you drop it in. Okay? Some people will do this, and the elbow comes up and the shoulder rolls down. That's not a super efficient motion. So just practice it slow like this. The elbow kind of comes into your side a little bit, and then the wrist follows through as this comes out to a natural position, right? Like a strong stance. If you were standing and having to hold a huge turkey on a platter or something like that, that's sort of where the elbows go. We don't want them squeezed in. So I would slowly try this at different tempos, but keep them all as slow tempos, trying it slowly. So you can go even slower than I did before. And when you're doing this slow practice, it's deliberate. You're making sure that the technique with each stroke is good. Everything's going where it needs to be, and it's efficient. Okay? The tip comes straight up with the stick. I don't want to see this. For this technique, we don't want any of that. The tip of the stick leads the motion. Up, That's the fastest, most efficient way. Up. Okay, and then as that gets comfortable, speed it up a little bit. But still, exaggerate that stick height. I want there to be a separation, a big physical separation between the low hand and the accent hand. That's going to start to help create different coordination levels, right? And as you speed this up, you're still going to have a strong accent. What happens is most people, as they speed up their paradiddles, the accent goes away and the soft notes get louder because they're playing faster than their technique allows. And it could sound something like this, where all the notes are almost the same. The accent's really not even there. Their technique is not allowing them to play fast enough. Their technique's not good enough to do that. But this slow practice is how you train that technique to be able to still have a difference in sound between your accent and your low note. And that's what I'm talking about by the ability to play more musically. Music isn't flat, it's not all one tone. You need to have inflection, you need to have accents, you have to have non-accents. And the slow practice is the only way to do it. The other thing this does, the first time I was introduced to this, I had been playing for many, many years. I had taken a lesson with a gentleman by the name of John Pratt, and he asked me to play paradiddles. And I said, sure. And I played paradiddles at a pretty good tempo, maybe something like this. And he goes, slow them down, slow them down, slow them down. So I go, okay. And he goes, no, it's too fast. He said, do it like this. And that's how he played a paradiddle for me. And then he began to break things down just like I did for you. This benefited my playing completely. Before then, I was one of those people where all the notes were kind of the same speed. And something else really changed everything for me. I started to have the ability to play with more relaxation. And before this, I had some issues with my hands and some muscle issues because I was playing so tight, and it really was starting to affect my playing and even other aspects of my life. It had gotten so bad. But really learning this technique the right way, it allowed me to play relaxed again with more musicality. My speed got faster. The consistency of my sound improved, but it has to be slow to get there. Okay, go slow to get fast. This is exercise number 1. Okay, exercise number 2, we're going to start speeding things up now. Once that's comfortable and it's flowing. So there's 2 ways to build speed when you're working at paradiddles. One is just the old school way of just putting those reps. You have to do them. How many paradiddles have you done? 10 million. Good, then they're going to get faster, right? But we're not always practicing efficiently, and 10 million paradiddles takes a long time to do. I think the actual number people throw out to master something is 10,000 reps, right? So you can just people will just play paradiddles over and over again, like this, for 20, 30 minutes, an hour maybe. And they'll slowly start to get faster. And they won't even realize it got faster, but they put enough reps in that their body goes, all right, let's carry on. And we get a little bit quicker. I think that's a good approach, but I think there's a faster way to get faster. And we want to give our body little bursts of speed to experience it and to let our brain comprehend that burst of speed, but then we want to relax, because if we do those long reps, you might start to have some tension sneak into your playing, and I want to avoid that. That's not healthy. And as soon as the tension sneaks in, the technique goes away, and we're not thinking about the sound quality as much anymore. I also believe that that tension, when it comes in, it means your technique has failed. You're not playing with a good technique anymore because you pushed it too fast, right? So I don't want to do lots of reps on our fastest speed. However, we can do 2 slow paradiddles followed by 4 fast paradiddles. And if we do that and loop it, we're giving ourselves little short bursts of speed. And we can actually train our speed faster. We can get faster more quickly, if you will. Wait, that's redundant. Here we go. Let's fix that. Okay, so this exercise sounds a little bit like this. So you have 2 paradiddles that are slow, think of them as 1/8 notes, and then 4 that are faster, think of them as 16th notes. So they're twice the speed, and you can rep it faster and faster. Let's put a metronome on to see kind of where we're at. And I want you to do this. If you use a metronome, you'll be able to track how fast you're getting and get to really see your progress. That's important. Too many times we don't track our progress. So here's a little metronome action. That's a quarter note. So 2 slow, 4 fast. Notice that I'm using that technique still. As you get faster, that accented hand isn't as high anymore because the farther away you are from the pad, the longer it takes to get back to the pad. But that's still happening. There's still a big distance between my sticks. Okay, here we go. Let's bump it up a little bit. That's a metronome at 100. Let's bump it up to 120. Here we go. Cool, you guys starting to see how this exercise works. Let's bump it up once more just for fun. Let's push it to 150. So that's quarter note at 150. Here we go. You'll notice that the sticks still are prepping. Look, comes up and it's ready to go. It comes up right away to prep for that accent so that you can play the accent with relaxation. That's the key. The accent needs to stay relaxed. Okay? There's a third step. Here's the third step. This is a traditional rudimental way of approaching a paradiddle, and it's going to be a breakdown. Starting slow and slowly speeding up, much like if you play a long roll, if you're familiar with a long roll, until you hit your maximum speed without sacrificing sound quality, okay? And then bring it back down slow again. So that would look and sound something like this. All right, so you're slowly getting faster. I like to imagine a train taking off from the tracks, slowly getting some speed going. As you get faster, the accent hand comes down a little bit lower, but it's staying totally relaxed because the prep is fast on the second note. As you slow down, you slowly bring that accent hand up higher, and it will kind of bring all the strokes up a little higher, forcing you to slow down. Second note comes up, right? Up, up, super important. So take that from a slow to the fastest you can go. Maybe that speed's only here. Maybe you only get to here, but then you slow it back down. That's okay, okay? Because as you go through the second exercises we did for speed building, that will get faster and faster in exercise 3 as well. But exercise 3, why are we doing it, right? Back to intention. It is giving you a total experience on stick control, because as you speed up, this diddle, the diddle in the paradiddles, becomes a double stroke. It becomes a bounce. So you're transitioning from singles to doubles within it, and everything is speeding up, and the ability to go from 2 singles to a double is different than kind of 4 single strokes with a diddle. So your stick control becomes just really transformed in a way, to be totally different and to be totally at the next level of your playing as you get faster. All right, so those are my paradiddle exercises, the way I teach my students to train paradiddles. Many of my students will come to me and they're quite good already, but they never trained with this intention. And they have some of those common mistakes that you hear, right? Like as you get faster, the accents go away and the tap notes are almost the same volume as the accents, and tension starts to build in our playing. And this is the only thing I find that really fixes all of those things permanently, all right? And easily and without building extra tension in our body. The goal is always to be relaxed, but still have power, strength, speed, agility, all the things that you want in your playing, and still the ability to be musical too. Super important. All right, so if you're liking these drum videos, subscribe so you don't miss any more, and drop a comment to let me know what kind of videos you want next, okay? I'm here to make sure you get your rudimental drumming chops up and let that transfer to whatever you're doing, whether you're a drum set player, whether you're a mallet player or a timpanist. This style of training makes your hands better in every way I could imagine. All right, so keep drumming, go practice. I'll see you next time.